Okay, so got a little late start. Tom G. Mateo and Miracles, Magic, and Coffee to help you guys get your health back and get your life back and get what you want. So, hey, Tom, I know we've been talking a bit, and I don't know which way we're going today. How's it going? And tell me what you're seeing.
Well, hi, Ralph.
Hey.
We had a break last week, so that's okay. So, New England is getting nervous about upticks in the COVID piece and mixed messages. So it feels a little scary going around here. And just, I feel there's a big worry in the world, per se.
I do too, man. That's what I say.
And anything that we could do to help relieve that would be amazing. So we're putting along. I'm just out. Probably by next week, I'll have that new white paper on how integrated manual therapy sees nutrition to support keeping the immune system super strong for COVID.
So important.
Yeah.
Because you guys literally saved my teeth by what we apply. So.
And so if we want to de-stress somebody and we wanted to keep them a little healthier, that technique that we talked about, the hand placement technique, maybe NFP, one good one that even helps for sleep at night is placing one hand on the heart and the other hand right at the bridge of the nose. So the bridge of the nose is your third eye. And it's also the entrance to your sixth chakra, and it's also the entrance of the limbic system. So by putting your hand on your heart, you send love and joy to it, but you also improve the circulation up there. And if you've been like me, I actually have tried to take a 2-day, 3-day news break, so I don't really know what's going on in the world. But the blue light coming off our computer screens and our LED screens and everything else really irritates the back of the eye. So this is really a good deactivation. Like our eyes are popping out of our heads and being forced forward so this is really it. That's how I fell asleep last night. I tucked some pillows under my elbow so that wouldn't be cramped up, and it really helps it's part of our sleep protocol too. And it's acupressure to deactivate some of those pieces. So.
Yeah, I've been doing the strain counter strain which is a positional technique to release tension for the heart and the lungs every morning and every night. For some reason, that's been and I love the one hand here, one hand there homework. I do that too. But I've been doing some integrated manual therapy every morning and night to real simple things for the heart and the lungs. For some reason, that's been my thing lately.
Mm-hmm. So the chaos in the world, politics aside, and just the vaccination piece is just making people really, really nervous.
Yeah,
right?
It really is.
Really, really scared. So I have a lot of empathy for those people. So what would you say to them to how to help people deactivate so they don't get caught up in the chaos and can still feel safe?
Yeah, and there's so much that, like if they were laying on your treatment table for a few hours a week, for 1 hour a week, for a few hours every few weeks, it would help enormously. And there's so much that can be done like that. Or if they were with me one-on-one, one thing that I would recommend for everybody, no matter where they are in the world, is to consider possibly, there's an author that I love named Ryan Holiday. Obstacle is the Way is one of his books. And he's got a funny story, but he, not funny, haha, but tough time, then overcame some stuff. But the obstacle is the way is a kind of a nice idea. But one idea could be something that he talks about: do not waste this disaster. And what he means is there's a way to use any disaster or any turmoil or any like concern or worry as your doorway into clearing whatever's in the way of you, connecting with God, the infinite, what you're here to do, any of that bigger purpose stuff. And a way that people can do it is to notice whatever's up for them, like whatever button is up for them, whatever's causing them angst or worry or concern. And then just for a moment, let go of that and go inside your body and just notice your body. And you might think, well, that doesn't seem like much, but it's been said from different practitioners that, and Sharon always talked about going through the body, the subconscious, it is in your tissues, like your heart, and it does have love there, and your liver does connect with different things with anger and kidneys and fear, and it's in your body. And your attention on it, you could think of it as consciousness. It is a noticing of stuff. And if you just sit there and notice whatever in you got activated, whether it's your spouse saying something or the news is on or you're worried about this or that, you could just for a moment quit thinking about it. You can't stop thinking about it, but stop resisting thinking about it and put part of your attention inside your body and just sit with whatever that is. And like my friend Don Lay, who had a near-death experience, and I interviewed him many times about it, I said, what do you recommend, Don, as a meditation or as a thing? And he, because he had a near-death experience, and he said, I was everything, and I realized I am everything, and I know everything. That's what his experience was when he had his near-death experience. I said, what's your meditation? What do you recommend? And he, with a smile, he said, shut up and listen. He was just smiling, and it's kind of like, so what I would recommend is just take at least some time each day when you're really stressed, and instead of running from it or trying to subdue it, there's times when you want to just drink a glass of wine or go for a run or take a nap or watch Netflix. But when you can go, okay, you know what? I'm going to just go feel it, and just go feel it. And if you feel it for a bit and stay with it, it will run itself out. And what happens is it creates a vacuum. It creates a vacuum. And that vacuum, that space gets filled with goodness. And you'll get a lot of inspiration of what to do next in the physical world. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. I've been feeling like a lot of people have been absorbing other people's energies and other people's worries. So we have a technique in the processing field that we can do a little discussion on, is that we look at belief systems. And the way integrated manual therapy describes belief systems is it's lessons that you learned by mentors that you really appreciated, and you took them into yourself as your beliefs. So, if we're walking with my father, your father, or you're making cookies with your grandmother, and she says, all women should really become good chefs and bakers so that they can keep a good family. That sort of gets stuck in the subconscious as a belief system. So, if we study structure and posture, when somebody crosses their arms and goes like this, they're really not wanting to listen to anything you have to say, and they have their ankles crossed and everything. So in a structural postural world, I'm blocking my solar plexus. Can I hear you? Do I want to hear you, or you're pushing too much and it doesn't feel comfortable? So for the therapy, we actually have people grab their forearms.
I love that.
And we call it forearm walking or forearm meditation. And that alone brings you to your awareness of your belief systems, different stories, different processes. And that shut up and listen is really a good idea. So I recommend to people to start walking. And the more difficult the walk, the more you get to hear your subconscious talk. So if your eyes are focused, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I used to go up in the mountains and do trail walking and never let go of my arms. And I would fall into cacti and off trails and stuff. And I really stressed the survival mode of my brain. And then all these other stories would come in, and I'd hear different patterns. And that little thing that said, you always have to do this, don't do that. And we can also get to where we picture the person who told us that. And if it isn't part of our essence, it doesn't really fit with the rest of our population, you can say, oh, that's grandma's statement. And that was good for her, but that's not where, and you have a verbal discussion on that.
I'm going to keep my hands on my forearm. Yeah, that's a cool way to go.
So it is a good stress reductor. And so like, is some of the fears that a lot of people have Are you still there, Ralph?
Yes, we see your name, but we still hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Just I have a patient calling in, and I'm just going to ask her to wait.
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah, so you guys might want to put your hands and just hold onto your forearms and see what you notice.
Can you ask Nancy to call Allison? Okay. So that's something, and it really relieves stress as you start to peel away these deeper belief systems or issues that we were having the discussion before we got on, that what gets in my way of being successful, and some of those belief systems are really in there to do that.
Yeah, that's a really
it's almost like a good self-hug also, you know.
Yeah.
So
what gets in the way of getting this or getting that or figuring this out, and then walking around? Walking is a cool way to go anyway, and then holding onto your forearms and just sitting with it, and there could be some cool things that show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I would recommend too is see how you feel physically after doing that, because what I've noticed is when you clear some of this stuff, the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff, the physical body gets looser and lighter, and it's like getting really good body work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
What do you have to say about like Sharon and you guys built this amazing series of clinics and practitioners from all over the world? And I mean, I had so much fear and anxiety back then. You guys helped me so much clear that. But I didn't ever see Sharon get, I didn't see fear. I didn't see anxiety. I never saw procrastination. I never saw hurriedness. Even if she was like, there was everybody wanting everything from her. She was just like, oh, hi, darling. Yes, yes. So what was her secret?
A whole lot of processing before you saw her.
Oh, she was the one that developed this whole one hand here, one hand there thing back when she talked about that in Israel.
And she described in her book, she literally did hundreds and hundreds of hours of that.
We all have.
When we took kids
out. Body Wisdom by Sharon James.
Yeah. But she said when she started to think it was a skill set, she'd take her kids to the beach, and she would sit on the beach and just hold one spot to another, and just once in a while pop an eye open and make sure the kids were bobbing up and down in the water the correct way, and then go back into processing. So, you know, the Sharon that was clean and bright was, you know, a diamond in the rough before that time. She was getting in, you know, that connection to light and intuition was developed over time.
That's cool.
And there were quite a few mistakes along the way before she became as brilliant as she, you know, she trusted the course of medicine, and every time she brought her children there, she felt worse about that. And at one point, the straw that broke the camel's back, and said, I can do more than they can. At the same time, so that brightness started to shine, you know. So when you started studying with us, it was good 20, 30 years of just reflecting inwardly and studying and mastering and stuff.
Yeah, I was February of 2000 in San Diego. Yeah. Women's health issue class was the first time. And I remember you guys could just look across the room and see what was going on in somebody's body. And I remember somebody, it might've been Frank Lowen or you guys or everybody was talking about, you know, because I had taken that visceral manipulation stuff from the Upledger group, and they're talking about Jean-Pierre Barral getting treatment. And so he was on the table, and somebody, the practitioner who was practicing on him, had their hands on his head. And then he was telling them their medical history. Like, oh, you had 3 children and they're this age and this. It's like he was laying on the table, and that always intrigued me. And there was a guy you might remember back a long time ago, a thing called PT Bulletin. And there was a guy named Dorco. That was the best part of the whole PT Bulletin. At the last page, he would talk about all sorts of esoteric, healing, energetic things. That's just so cool. I'd like to see what he's up to these days. But that's always been an interest. Did Sharon, how would you recommend somebody tap into that kind of wisdom? So they can get what they want in life, you know, like bring their healing work to the world, or what business stuff to the world, or families thriving, or how would somebody at this point now, looking back, what are the ways that you would say, you know what, this is what if I was back, that if I could go back in time, I would say do this.
Yep. Listening to the show is the first step. The willingness to take some time out and do some personal healing is they're well on the way. But a lot of people seek help for their significant others or other people first. And everybody that I've talked to that's come through the show has been in a self-healing mode. So recognizing we're all wounded a little bit too.
They find you and me after they've tried a lot of stuff, I feel.
Yep. Yeah. So again, I feel that they're on their way while they're here on this process, and keep going. Like the books you recommend, Sharon's book, The Body Wisdom book, is a good starting book in that whole process.
It really is. Yeah, I would, one way I think would be environment, like hanging around you, videos, and if you get hands-on work, hanging around me, videos, hands-on work, your environment really helps. I remember I was running, and I had been, I was in San Diego, and there was people that had been to the Olympics running with us, and Olympic trials and American record holders. And I was running and I fell. And I think I fell. It was a flat road with just a puddle. I think I fell because the pace was so fast. I was like, I just had to slow this down. And my coach, Kevin, he called me Ralphie. He goes, Ralphie, just stay with the group. The group will get you there. You'll be the boss of this run. And I didn't become an Olympian or anything, but it got to be my thing. And he was right. The group is like so important. If you're with people that have figured some stuff out, it's really it's almost by osmosis, and you get to do stuff and do the things.
Yeah. So that's a nice healing way to do things.
What's the best way for them to like, there's therapists that meet with you every week for training.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like 50 or more every single week. And then there's your clients and people that have been your clients over the years. What if they're in Connecticut, West Hartford, go see Tom.
Yeah. And it's still the connection. Everybody anywhere in the world can do a 15-minute free consultation with us.
Yeah.
Use the website to call the front desk, and we're not as sophisticated as your websites are, but if you get to the phone and Nancy and I can talk to you, then we try to do a referral out. And I've been doing more telemedicine over the phone until I have somebody in like Santa Fe this month that's really housebound. But my goal is to get her to the therapist in the area to do that and things.
So IMT Wellness.
Yep.
IMTWellnessCenter.com. Just reach out to Tom and get on a call with Tom or Nancy.
Yeah.
I've been with Nancy and Tom many, many, many years. Yeah. Awesome.
So next week, if everybody wants to learn about nutrition that IMT's found that keep their immune system super strong, I'll preempt and send you the list and stuff, Ralph. So you maybe do a little presentation on different bodies, have some handholds to do too, and some different suggestions that we've learned as a team over the COVID pieces, and all the little tricks that the group has learned.
That's so needed, so awesome. Yeah. So next week it's about nutrition and self-care. So
how to survive winter of 21.
Winter of 2020.
Healthy and happy. And I'm researching even some. We're trying to design. The vaccination is here and feels like it's important for people, and the independence of taking it or not taking it, but how to stay healthy while receiving it is the next step. So I'll be on some advanced teams of hopefully feeling people who have had the vaccinations and figure out where it gets stuck in the body, stuff like that.
Yeah, you can find out what happened with all that stuff, and figure out what to help people navigate So next week will be really big. And in the meantime, reach out to Tom, imtwellnesscenter.com, and get a 15-minute consult. And many ways to find me on the internet. You can find me at ralphhavens.com /crush imposter syndrome. It's a way that I use to clear the anxieties and the fears. And so you can check in on that. I got a video training, not a long one, but a good one. So, so reach out. Tom, thank you. Sorry we started late. I just got so excited talking to you ahead of time. And then we were like, oh, we got to hit record. So, so good to see you and Nancy and next week.
Too,
yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Bye, you guys.